Assalamualaikum and a good day. My name is Hananie binti Azharudin. My matric number is 98030. Today I will present my FYP1 proposal entitled A Comparison of Speaking Anxiety and Fear of Negative Evaluation among Undergraduates from Different Academic Programs during face-to-face classroom discussions. This study is supervised by Dr. Ernisa binti Marzuki. In higher education, students are expected to participate actively during classroom discussions, especially in English medium classrooms. However, some students may experience psychological barriers when speaking in class, such as speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation. They may feel nervous, fear making mistakes, or worry about being judged by lecturers and classmates. Therefore, this study focuses on these psychological factors during face-to-face classroom discussions. Previous studies have shown that speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation are common among students. For example, Yahaya found that Malaysian students experience speaking anxiety due to fear of mistakes and peer evaluation. Al-Karni also reported that higher anxiety may reduce students' willingness to communicate. However, many studies focus on one learner group or one educational context. There is limited comparison across different academic programs within the same university. Therefore, the study compares students from English for Global Communication, on linguistics, and human resource development programs. The aim of this study is to compare levels of speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation among undergraduates from different academic programs during face-to-face classroom discussions. The objectives are to measure speaking anxiety, measure fear of negative evaluation, compare speaking anxiety across academic programs, and compare fear of negative evaluation across academic programs. Speaking anxiety refers to anxiety experienced during classroom discussions. It will be measured using an adapted foreign language classroom anxiety scale or FLCAS. Fear of negative evaluation refers to students concerned about being judged negatively by lecturers or peers. It will be measured using an adapted brief fear of negative evaluation scale or BFNE. Academic programs refer to English for Global Communication, linguistics, and human resource development. The study is guided by two theories. The first is foreign language classroom anxiety theory by Horwitz, which explains anxiety in language learning contexts, including communication apprehension and fear of negative evaluation. The second is willingness to communicate theory by McIntyre, which suggests that anxiety, confidence, and classroom environment may influence students' willingness to participate in communication activities. Several studies support this topic. Yahaya found that Malaysian students experience moderate speaking anxiety. Al-Karni reported that higher anxiety reduced willingness to communicate. Wang and Ahmad found that fear of negative evaluation reduced classroom participation. Overall, these studies shows that psychological factors influence classroom participation, but comparison across academic programs is still limited. This study uses a quantitative descriptive comparative research design. This design is suitable because the study measures speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation using questionnaire data and compares the results across 3 academic programs. The participants will be undergraduate students from University Malaysia Sarawak. The study will involve approximately 120 students with around 40 students from each program: English for Global Communication, linguistics, and human resource development. Purposive sampling will be used because the study requires students who have experience in face-to-face classroom discussions conducted in English. The main instrument is a questionnaire distributed through Google Forms. It has 4 sections which are consent form demographic information, speaking anxiety items adapted from FLCAS, and fear of negative evaluation items adapted from BFNE. A 5-point Likert scale will be used, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. For data collection, the questionnaire will be prepared using Google Forms and distributed through WhatsApp and Telegram. Participants will read the consent form before answering. They will be informed that participation is voluntary and responses are confidential. The completed responses will then be stored digitally for analysis. The data will be analyzed using SPSS. Descriptive statistics such as mean and standard deviation will be used to determine the levels of speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation. One-way ANOVA will then be used to compare mean differences across the 3 academic programs. This study has theoretical and practical significance. Theoretically, it contributes to literature on speaking anxiety, fear of negative evaluation, and willingness to communicate. Practically, the finding may help lecturers understand students' communication challenges and create more supportive classroom environment. In conclusion, this study focuses on comparing speaking anxiety and fear of negative evaluation among undergraduates from different academic programs. The study may provide better understanding of psychological factors that influence classroom participation. That is all from me. Thank you.